When the curtains opened on the Got Talent stage that night, the audience buzzed with the usual mix of excitement and curiosity. Contestants from all walks of life had already passed through those doors earlier in the season. Dancers with gravity-defying moves, singers chasing lifelong dreams, comedians hoping to land the perfect punchline. But no one, not even the judges who had seen thousands of auditions, was prepared for what was about to unfold. A young man stepped forward wearing a simple black clerical shirt, a white Roman collar visible beneath the bright stage lights. His name was Father Miguel Santos, a 22-year-old priest from the Philippines, and the moment he introduced himself, a wave of confusion swept through the theater. The judges leaned in, exchanging glances. A priest on Got Talent was not something they saw every day. One judge smiled politely and asked him what brought him to the stage. Father Miguel answered softly but confidently. He said he came to sing, not for fame, not for money, but to share a gift God had given him and a message he believed the world needed to hear. His voice was calm, almost shy, yet there was a quiet strength behind his words. Some people in the audience nodded respectfully. Others looked skeptical. Social media would later admit that many viewers assumed this would be a novelty act, something inspirational but forgettable. As the music cue began, Father Miguel closed his eyes for just a second. In that brief moment, the story of his life flashed through his mind. He remembered the small fishing village where he grew up, where the ocean breeze mixed with the sound of church bells every Sunday morning. He remembered his mother singing hymns while cooking rice over a simple stove and his father teaching him that faith meant service, not applause. From a young age, Miguel had discovered that his voice was different. When he sang in church, people stopped whispering. When he joined the choir, even the older singers paused to listen. But talent alone did not define his journey. At 16, while his friends dreamed of careers abroad or viral fame online, Miguel felt a different calling. He entered the seminary, choosing a path that many around him could not understand. Some people praised him. Others quietly questioned whether he was wasting his potential. Why become a priest when his voice could earn him money, fame, and comfort? Miguel wrestled with that question himself many nights, praying for clarity. Eventually, he realized that his voice was not meant to be hidden, but it was also not meant to be owned by ambition. It was meant to serve. Back on the Got Talent stage, the first note left his lips, and everything changed. It was not loud. It was not flashy. It was pure. The sound carried a warmth that filled the room instantly. Conversations stopped. Phones lowered. Even the judge's confident expression softened. As the melody grew, so did the power behind his voice. It carried emotion, discipline, and a depth that could only come from lived experience. This was not a performance built on tricks or trends. It was a voice shaped by prayer, loss, hope, and devotion. Halfway through the first verse, one judge leaned forward, eyes wide. Another judge slowly removed their glasses, as if needing to see more clearly. The audience sat frozen, unsure whether to breathe. Father Miguel sang in English, but the emotion transcended language. Every word felt intentional, every note controlled yet full of longing. When he reached the chorus, the sound soared, rich and resonant, echoing across the massive auditorium. It was the kind of voice people described as once in a generation. Then came the first twist. Just as the audience settled into the beauty of the song, Father Miguel shifted the arrangement. Without warning, he transitioned into a Filipino hymn woven seamlessly into the melody. The change was subtle yet powerful. The judges did not understand the words, but they did not need to. The emotion spoke for itself. Tears appeared in the crowd. Somewhere in the audience, a woman covered her mouth, overwhelmed by the sincerity pouring from the stage. As the final note faded, there was silence. Not polite silence. Not confused silence. It was the kind of silence that follows something sacred. For several seconds, no one moved. Then the room exploded. The audience rose to their feet in a standing ovation that seemed endless. Cheers thundered from every corner of the theater. The judges stood as well, clapping with genuine astonishment. One judge shook their head repeatedly, unable to find words. When the judges finally spoke, their reactions only deepened the moment. One said they had heard technically perfect singers before, but rarely had they felt a performance reach their soul. Another admitted they had expected something inspirational but never imagined being so deeply moved. The harshest judge, known for blunt criticism, paused longer than usual before speaking. Then, with visible emotion, they said they felt like they had just witnessed something holy, something beyond competition. But the biggest twist was still coming. The host asked Father Miguel why he chose this stage, knowing the scrutiny, knowing the spotlight could conflict with his calling. Miguel took a deep breath and shared a truth that stunned everyone. He revealed that his parish back home had been struggling after a devastating typhoon. Families had lost homes, children had lost schools, and hope was in short supply. He said he wanted to remind the world that faith and talent could coexist, and that voices like his could be used to rebuild more than just dreams. That revelation shifted the entire narrative. This was no longer just about a priest who could sing. It was about a young man carrying the weight of his community onto the biggest stage in the world. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of his performance spread across platforms, with viewers from the United States, Europe, and beyond sharing reactions. Many admitted they had tuned in expecting entertainment and found themselves reflecting on purpose, faith, and humility. The judges exchanged looks again, this time with intention. One of them slowly reached for the golden buzzer. The audience gasped. Another judge whispered something urgently, but it was too late. The buzzer was pressed, and golden confetti rained down from above. Father Miguel stood frozen, eyes wide, hands trembling. He did not shout. He did not jump. He simply fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, overwhelmed not by victory, but by gratitude. As the confetti settled, the judges approached him on stage. One asked how he felt. Miguel answered honestly, saying he felt small and blessed, and that he hoped his journey would encourage young people to believe they did not have to choose between faith and dreams. The audience roared again, louder than before. In the days that followed, Father Miguel became a global sensation. Interviews poured in. Headlines called him the singing priest who stunned the world. Yet those closest to him noticed something remarkable. He did not change. He returned to his parish. He continued celebrating Mass. He sang for children in evacuation centers and prayed with families who had lost everything. Fame visited him, but it did not move him. When the live shows arrived, the pressure intensified. Critics wondered if the audition had been a one-time miracle. Doubters questioned whether he could repeat the magic. On his next performance, Miguel surprised everyone again. He chose a song about surrender and hope, delivered with even greater restraint and emotional depth. The judges watched in silence, knowing they were witnessing something rare. He advanced round after round, not because of hype, but because every performance felt honest. By the finale, Father Miguel stood among the strongest competitors of the season. Win or lose, many believed he had already won something greater. When the final votes were announced, the results almost felt secondary. Regardless of placement, his impact was undeniable. Messages flooded in from viewers saying his performance had helped them through grief, restored faith, or inspired them to use their talents for good. In the end, Father Miguel addressed the audience one last time. He thanked them for listening, for opening their hearts, and for proving that the world still had room for sincerity. He reminded everyone that greatness was not measured by trophies, but by how deeply you touched others. As the lights dimmed and the season came to a close, one thing was clear. The night a 22-year-old Filipino priest walked onto the Got Talent stage, the competition stopped feeling like a show and started feeling like a moment the world needed.